morning, everyone, from the Coire Sois garden in beautiful sunshine, although there are clouds moving over from the west and I don't know how long it's going to hold up, but for the moment it's absolutely beautiful, which it wasn't yesterday when the priestess training students were here. And I'm sitting here in the little Blackthorn thicket and it is just a riot of blossom. So very much carrying that energy of abundance, of new life, of the blossoming that's coming at Blackthorn. These are the early heralds of that blossoming time, the Drian or the Straff in the Oam. And you know, when we look at the Blackthorn, we see the dark wood of the branches and we see the thorns, you know, and they're all still there, and yet we have these beautiful, delicate blossoms. And I think Blackthorn has a lot to teach us about boundaries, about protection, and about that balance of light and dark. And I touched on that in a post yesterday with some photographs of this beautiful little thicket here. So when we come to connect with the trees, and certainly in the training when the students come out to connect with the trees or with different aspects of the natural world, it's about really sitting with it, connecting in with the spirit of that particular tree or plant and feeling all the different parts of it. So to come to Blackthorn, and you know, it's one that's really accessible to most people. If you have, even if you're in an urban environment, if you have a park or a bit of hedging near you, there's nearly always a bit of Blackthorn. You know, because of the thorns and that kind of protective energy, it's often used in boundaries and hedging as well. Unfortunately, this year the hedgerows have been so destructively savaged that in the road across here, as I've shown you before, there's not a hint of a blackthorn blossom over there, and yet look at this just let grow wild in the garden and it's absolutely bursting with an abundance of beautiful blossom. But if you can get time to go and, you know, sit with a blackthorn, feel down into the roots, feel the trunk, the branches, the thorns, and at the moment the blossom. Feel the different kinds of energies and, you know, sort of vibrational frequencies of each of these constituent parts. And then remember that it's all one tree. It's all the same organism. And of course connected to all other blackthorns. And then tune deeply into the spirit of the blackthorn and ask, what is its guidance, what is its message for you personally at this time. And we are like that, you know, all these constituent parts, the bits that need to protect ourselves, where we need to put up boundaries, the roots we need to put down deep into the ground, you know, the trunk that we need to sustain our whole system, and that delicate fragility of the blossom, you know, that beauty that we all carry, and it all coexists together. And I think looking at the beauty and the delicacy of these blossoms, just to go in close here on one or two if I can, yeah, just the delicacy, the lightness of that. Like those vulnerable parts of ourselves, and then we have the thorns and the dark wood. So much as we need to embrace our vulnerability, much as we need to be in our heart and to exercise compassion and to acknowledge our own beauty, we need our boundaries. We need to protect what is fragile within us. Sometimes when we're in a very vulnerable state, there will be people that we can't really be around, not because maybe we don't, care about them. Sometimes it can be people we actually care about. But there are people who drain our energy. There are people who come to us because of their needs, and we're not always in a space where we can give. So sometimes, like the blackthorn, we need those thorns to kind of be, okay, I need space now. I need to be with myself now. I need nourishment for myself right now. That can be a really difficult thing to do for those of us on the healing path, on the spiritual path, because I think our work is about giving to the community. Our work is about mediating energy out into the world. But sometimes we need that quiet space. Sometimes we need that self-protective space. And we need to make sure that what comes into our space is nourishing and healing and brings us sustenance. So those are some of the thoughts that the beautiful blackthorn are bringing to me today, but mostly just grateful for this beauty around me. The sounds of the birds, especially the blackbirds who were singing so sweetly lately. And that makes me think about how many people don't have a place to be. So we have to, much as we need to protect and nourish ourselves, we also have to kind of stand up in defense of the vulnerable when and how we can. And to my mind, at this point in time, the only way to do that is to bring down the government and to change the whole system. And that's another day's work and another day's talk. So from the Coire Sois garden this morning, from this beautiful little thicket, little grove of blossoming blackthorn, I wish you gra agus banachtaí slán go fóill.